Oh, child, I'm sitting here doing my hair. And the go live button is on. Let me put the question of the day over here in the chat. All righty. Let's go ahead and pin that. Greetings, good people. I really hate this in my eyes like this. Greetings, good people. So glad to see you. I hope you are in good spirits today. Um, let's pull this down a little bit so that you can see me. And I'm just not a talking head, literally. I hope you're in good spirits today. I had a wonderful day. I went out and did some co-working today with my freelance writing business. Went to a local restaurant, had some nice watermelon juice and a spicy tofu curry and rice sort of a thing. And it was delicious. Walked back home with some really great exercise. And so now it's the end of the day here in Kigali, Rwanda. And I'm here to offer you a new video. And I'm really trying to find the go between reading what I need to read and having this light in my eye because it's annoying. But today we're talking about 5 activities you are not accounting for in your freelance writing business. Things that you are taking every day and you're not being paid for it or you're not being paid enough for it. And this is really important. Why? Well, let me tell you who I am so that I can tell you why this topic is really important. My name's Halana Black. I'm a freelance writer. I do content marketing for tech companies, mostly in the US, but also in Canada and a couple other countries. I've been doing this for 8 years. I started off writing content for a literal $9 an hour, $9 a piece, $9 like for like a blog post, no lie. And these days, 8 years later, I'm getting paid $500 to as much as $1,500 for a blog post, and much more for other types of content. And so I enjoy being able to help new freelance writers sort of get their business off the ground so that they can live life on their terms. Since I've started my business, I've been able, well, not since I've started my business, but for the last 5 years of my business, I've been traveling around the world. I've lived in 7 different countries, started off in Thailand, and right now I live in Kigali, Rwanda. And so if that sounds interesting to you, um, I'd invite you to like, share, and subscribe to this content. And I'm actually going to put together a whole email list so that we can actually stay connected to one another because that makes the most sense. So, number one activity you are not accounting for in your freelance writing business is your marketing. Your marketing time. A lot of times when you're a new freelance writer, and did the same thing when I started, which is why I was doing stuff for $9 a post. But your marketing time, particularly when you're a newbie, is it takes up a lot of time because you don't have any clients and you don't have you don't have a pipeline of clients to be able to count on. And so when you're marketing to your clients, when you don't have any clients, that's the thing that you're going to be doing the most time on. You get a trickle here and there, and you're doing stuff for low pay, mostly because you think you have to. You don't. Um, but yeah, you believe you don't account for the time it takes for marketing into what it is that you do every day, um, to be able to to do your work on a regular basis. So what does that mean that you need to do? I do marketing on a daily basis. I do marketing on a daily basis, at least for an hour, 2 hours. Um, I usually use LinkedIn to be able to connect with potential to connect with potential clients. It takes time to be able to hunt these companies down, good companies that are willing to pay you in your particular niche or niches. Um, and so that time that you spend on marketing needs to be accounted for. It's the hunting down. What do you do when you're marketing? You're hunting down the companies. You're trying to figure out what your particular niche is, particularly if you're a new freelance content writer. You're doing a lot of emailing, chatting back and forth, sending people writing samples. Um, and these are the sorts of things that you have to do as part of the cost of business. And it's not just the time that you're spending writing the particular thing that you are writing for the company. So that needs to be accounted for. That's why you can't do stuff for $10 a piece, at least not if you're an American. If you're an American and you're writing content, you can't just do stuff for $10 a piece. It makes no sense. It doesn't make financial sense. Um, it's not sustainable for you. And even in my first year of business, when I did it full time, um, like I had found some companies that were giving me like $25 for a short blog post, 500 words. And I really thought that if I do 4 blog posts a day at $25 a piece, I can make $100 a day and I would be ahead of the game. Silly thinking. I had no business sense whatsoever because no one ever taught me how to do business. And the work that I was doing before really wasn't paying me that much anyway. I was just really happy to not have to get up and go to work in the morning. I can work from home. My expenses really weren't that expensive at the time. Um, and so I didn't really know how to be able to ask for more, where to look for more, or that I was even worthy of more, that my skills and my talent and my knowledge of what it is that I was doing was even worth that much more. So, marketing is something that you really have to account for when you're deciding your rates for your freelance writing business. Next, let's go on to number 2, meetings. Meetings. Now, one of the things I really enjoy about being a freelance writer is that meetings are at a minimal, at least in my business. And I like it that way because I'm a super introvert. I always say this, I'm a super introvert. And I don't really want to be on phone calls, Zoom calls, weekly calls, daily calls. I just don't want to. I don't even want to email you every day. I don't like, just give me the assignment. We can talk about the assignment. We all sort of figure out what needs to get done. I'm going to go off and do the assignment and I'll speak to you before the deadline. If I have questions, I'll ask questions. Outside of that, some companies who don't know how to work with freelance writers, and it's sometimes they do know how to work with freelance writers. They just, it's like they think that they can sort of pull the wool over your head and sort of use more of your time than what they're actually paying you for. Because what happens in these meetings is that they want to get your opinion on certain things, on certain pieces of content or content strategy. And you're just like offering advice that you're not being paid for. So you're just doing stuff for $25 a piece, and you're thinking you're a part of the team, and they've got you on a weekly Zoom call, so that you can be involved in their little team meeting, um, which is essential for them, but it's not essential for you. Sometimes they would try and put you on like the Slack team, and to try to make you feel like you're a beneficial part of the team. And if they want to do that, like if they feel like they need to do that, then they need to pay you. They need to pay you. They need to pay you for your meetings. I can't tell you how I don't like to tell people how much to charge before a meeting. If it's going to be on a regular basis, I would say charge at least $150, depending on what you're doing for that hour of a meeting. If it's 30 minutes, you charge them half for that time. But your meeting time is important. The reason is because your time is important. You could be doing other things either for them or for another client. You could be taking another phone call, another potential client that could be um, paid for. Your time needs to be accounted for when you're a freelance writer. Freelance does not mean free. You need to think about your freelance writing business as a business. You need to put structures in place, structures and systems in place so that people treat you like the professional that you are. They can't just come in and throw stuff at you and expect it to get done. You can't just participate in a meeting at the last minute because they want your opinion on something real quick. They need to pay you for that time. Okay? So, with that, let me do a quick switch over to the question of the day. What is not working in your freelance writing business? So, we're talking about activities you're not accounting for. Is there a particular activity that you're not accounting for in your business and it's not working and it's driving you nuts and you don't know how to deal with it? Tell me down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay, so on to number 3. Activities you're not accounting for in your freelance writer business, your freelance writer salary. Number 3 is your research time. Your research time. I don't care how simple your topic of, I don't care how simple the topic of I don't care if you're writing makeup tutorials or, tutorials on how to use a particular AI piece of software. I don't care if it's really simple or super complicated. Your research time that you use on trying to get this particular piece done needs to be accounted for. That needs to be accounted for. You can't do research for free. I would even put into that category of research of any prior knowledge that you bring to this particular job, this particular assignment. That is time that needs to be accounted for. Just because you knew this piece of information, because you've been writing this same content for the last 10 years, that does not mean that you should not be paid for this particular type of work. Your research time needs to be paid for. What's next? Number 4, vacation and sick days. This is a big one. Vacation and sick days. When you are a business owner, a freelance writer, or a virtual assistant, an online business manager, or whatever else it is that you're doing, vacation and sick days need to be paid for. So you need to be able to create a system within how it is that you're getting paid so that when you need to be able to take time off, either you're like physically ill or you just need a mental health day or you want to go on vacation with yourself or your family, you need to be able to have time off to be able to do that, which means that you're going to be able to you need to be able to take some of the money that you're making from your work and putting it to the side so that you can pay for these events. Very simple. You got to find a way to be able to do that. And if you are only charging $25 for a blog post, that's going to be challenging because vacations can be a little expensive. Going to a local restaurant, after work can be expensive depending on where you're choosing to go. And so there was a point in my freelance writing business in the early days where going to the Taco Bell around the corner was a treat because I was not charging enough in my business. So now these days, I pay for um, business class flights to be able to go to new countries. I could not do that before. Like that was a freaking dream. But I decided that I deserve to be paid enough money that when I am switching countries, I deserve to sit in the business class section because it is the most comfortable. Moving countries is quite stressful, as is sitting in the economy section. I don't want to do that anymore. So I figure out how to be able to put myself in the business class section solely with the freelance writing money that I make. Okay? And I want you to be able to do the same for yourself. I don't care how big or small your goal is when you're first starting. Maybe you just want to be able to pay for going out to dinner at night. You should be able to do that. And you can do that with your freelance writing business money. You just got to know how to be able to price your work and figure out which niches are willing to pay you um, the highest amount of money for the skills that you bring to the table. And then number 5, we're almost done. This last activity you are not accounting for in your freelance writing business is number 5, the people who get on your nerves. Let me be the first to tell you that the people who pay you the lowest amount of money are always going to piss you off. They are nitpicky about what it is you write. I don't care how awesome what it is that you wrote. It's like they do a thing where they work on your psyche to try to make you second guess your skills, especially if they know that you're a person with good quality writing. They will nitpick at you. This is what I found in my early days. I had a couple of clients like this. They would nitpick at my work because they knew that my work was really good, and so they didn't want me to leave. And so what they did was they would sort of nitpick at what I did to sort of make me believe that I um, wasn't doing as well as I could, and that way I could stay longer. Some people are just assholes like that. You got to watch out for people like that. You have to know that what you're doing is great work and it deserves top dollar. It deserves top dollar. When you get to a certain point and you understand the business that you're working in, you deserve top dollar. And I tell you, when I started going after those clients that were willing to pay me top dollar for my work, I would do the thing, whatever the project was, I would hand it to them. They would give it back to me with reasonable edits that would take me less than an hour to complete, and they were done with me. $1,000 done for a blog post. You can make this sort of money in your business. Like if you knew, like if you only need $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in your business, and you're doing blog posts for simple blog posts for $1,000 a piece. And what's great about it is that if they're doing blog posts for $1,000 a piece, they'll also do more complicated pieces of content for more money. And so that's how you can find opportunities for you to be able to um, you'll find more opportunities for you to be able to stick around with companies that are willing to pay you more. And so that's super important. So yeah, you need to account for people that are bugging you. The people who pay you more are going to be much nicer to you. They're going to have less comments about your work, provided you do great work. But I'm not. I don't want to make it seem like I'm just handing people in garbage. I'm not saying that at all. You do have to do great work. You do have to do the research. You do have to understand the topics. You do have to ask questions up front. You have to do all of those things. But once you get the hang of it, It's going to be so easy. And you'll be wondering why you even bothered, with these little low paying folks. And a lot of it really is understanding your worth of the service that you're offering to people. Like I sort of when I sort of started out sort of like hanging my head and almost ashamed. Like I was ashamed and afraid to hand in my invoice to certain companies because I didn't feel like I deserved to be paid for it. Like, which is silly because that was the that was what excuse me, that was what our um, that's what the contract of our relationship was about. They give me the work, I do the work, they pay me for the work. Um, but because of my own issues with self worth and self esteem, I would sometimes put off putting in the invoice because I didn't feel like I was worthy of getting paid the money, which I don't want people to deal with when they start their freelance writing business. So this is the reason why I support people in their business. If you want support with building your own freelance writing business, if you are already working in a business and you want to be able to get better clients, I do one-on-one consulting sessions with people. I'd be happy to help you. Just go to the description down below and click on the link, or you can go to halanablack.com and click on freelance writer coaching, and you can set up an appointment there. So let's see, today's Wednesday. I'll be back on Thursday with another video. I think I'm going to do a video tomorrow on writer burnout, how to deal with writer burnout, because that's a real thing. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. I am a witness to that. So, yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.